Today, we're going to dive into a really strange and, surprisingly old idea that honestly affects every single one of us in this digital age. It's this concept of an electronic doppelganger. So, let me just start with this. You have a twin you've never met. No, not a physical twin, but something else. Something that's being built, piece by piece, every single time you go online. We call this twin your digital double. Yeah, it's the version of you that exists only in cyberspace. It's a doppelganger that's literally constructed from every click, every search you've ever made. And this twin, it's not just one thing. Think of it more like a complex tapestry, right? It's woven together from your social media personas, those profiles that algorithms are constantly building about you, your entire search history, even your video game avatars. With every click, this digital you gets more and more detailed. But here's where it gets really fascinating. This whole idea of an electronic double, it's not new. Not at all. In fact, it was predicted over 100 years ago. So get this. The source of this prophecy is a philosopher named Rudolf Steiner. All the way back in 1917, long before the internet was even a dream, he started talking about future intelligent machines and the huge challenges they would create for all of us. I mean, talk about prophetic. Steiner's idea was, well, it was pretty out there. He called it the Electronic Doppelgänger. He described it as this non-biological entity that literally enters our nervous system to manage all the electrical signals for our senses and our bodily functions. It's basically an automated system running our physical hardware. And to explain this relationship, Steiner used this incredibly powerful metaphor. He said the soul is like a prisoner, a celestial wanderer that's just here seeking experience. And the doppelganger? Well, that's the prison guard, whose only job is to make sure the body, the prison, survives. And according to Steiner, this doppelganger has a very clear agenda to keep us completely chained to the physical world, to anchor us in materialism and basically blind us to anything deeper, to any kind of spiritual dimension. Now, I know Steiner's idea is very specific and esoteric, but the general concept of a double or a second self, that is not unique to him at all. It's a theme that you see echoing all throughout human history. I mean, just look at this timeline. In ancient Egypt, they had the Ka, which was a kind of spirit double. In Norse mythology, you had the Vardogir, a ghostly twin that would show up and perform your actions before you even did them. And now, fast forward to today, and we have our digital double. It's just the modern electronic version of this ancient idea. So, you see, this isn't some bizarre fringe theory. The idea of a doppelganger is really part of this timeless philosophical question about who we are. It's this deep human exploration of identity and the dual nature of our own existence. And we see this exploration of duality everywhere in so many major traditions. For example, yogic thought talks about the Atman, our eternal soul, versus our temporary body. Buddhism speaks of anatta, or this idea of no permanent self, seeing our identity as more of an illusion. The core idea is always this distinction between a true, essential self and a more temporary, maybe even illusory one. Okay, so let's bring all of these threads, the historical, the philosophical, the esoteric, let's bring it all back to the very real challenges that we are all facing today. Because we really are at a modern crossroads. So the source material connects these ancient ideas to three huge challenges for us right now. First, our identity. Our carefully curated online personas can start to blur the line with who we really are. That leads to a feeling of disconnection, where all the digital noise just drowns out our inner world. And finally, that creates some very real ethical dangers, because our huge digital footprint leaves us vulnerable to everything from privacy invasion to identity theft. This chart really visualizes the core problem, doesn't it? So much of our daily focus, our energy, is poured into the external world, technology, work, social media. But in contrast, the time we dedicate to our inner world, to just self-reflection, to stillness, it's often dangerously low. The balance is just way off. And that brings us to the most important question of all. What do we do about this? How does this ancient concept of a double actually apply to your life, right here, right now? This is where we get to the solution. The source material calls it dancing with duality, and it's an approach that isn't about fighting technology, but about finding a new kind of harmony with it. And this is the single most important takeaway.
The goal is not to reject technology and go live in a cabin in the woods. The real key is to find a conscious balance, an equilibrium between the demands of our outer digital world and the needs of our inner self.
The source material sums it all up perfectly with one powerful word: consciousness. That's it. That's the path forward. It's about bringing awareness to how we engage with both sides of our lives. So what does that look like in practice? Well, it means being mindful of what we consume online, not just scrolling on autopilot. It means actively making time to cultivate self-awareness, away from the screen. And, crucially, it means nurturing real, quality, face-to-face connections to keep us grounded. It's all about intentionally creating that balance between your online and your offline existence. Because ultimately, that digital twin, your electronic doppelganger, it is always learning, always predicting, always evolving based on everything you do. So the question I want to leave you with is, what is it learning from you?